Welcome to Bright Violet Arts. My name is Valerie, and this video is all about my June planning pages in my bullet journal. My theme is a summer road trip. I have a little VW bus you can see. He's going to make an appearance on every page as he takes a little trip through June. All right, so to get the aesthetic that I'm going for, this like retro summer aesthetic, I'm going to use these silicone stamps. If you haven't used these, they're amazing. The silicone stamps just stick to these like little acrylic stamping blocks. They just naturally cling when you press them on. So after you've stamped your image, you can just peel the stamp back off and it will cling again to the plastic sheeting that it comes with. And that is just excellent for storage. These are some post-it notes with different colors, shapes, and patterns. I've been collecting these randomly for a couple of years, and I realized that I had a group that all looked sort of good together. So I decided to use them to collage the backdrop for my stamps. For all my lettering this month and for some of the designs, I'm going to be using acrylic-based paint pens. I have a mix of Posca pens and some pens, the acrylograph line actually from Archer and Olive. Now the gold paint pen is a little different in that every place I put gold paint pen, I am going to go back over it with some gold metallic watercolor. I do this for the main reason just being that it produces a lot more reflective gold shine, and that's important to me, but also because it gives a nicer surface for when I put the little details on, like I'm doing with this gel pen as I add the veins into the leaves. So onto the quote page here. I pulled this quote off the internet. I really like it. I thought it was great for like the optimistic summer road trip vibe that I'm trying to establish for these pages. And time for some washi tape. Definitely using a lot of washi in this monthly setup. These little circles here at the top, this is just my color palette for all the pages this month. I thought it looked nice. I've seen some other bullet journalers put their color palette into their design, and I thought I'd give that a try this month. I'm using a brown gel pen here that matches my stamp ink just to fill in the places where my stamped image had imperfections. And then there's my little VW surf bus. And I'm just gonna outline him to make him stand out a little more. All right, so there is the cover page, and we are onto the calendar. I'm gonna do kind of a large collage on the left because the grid calendar is gonna fill the rest of the space. I'm using a Sunday start, very simplified calendar. My gel pen is going to write directly on top of these circles I did in paint pen for the numbers. And then I'm using the gel pen to add details around my lettering and around my watercolor. And I guess I didn't get the footage, but I did add my little surf bus there to the bottom of the calendar. So he did make an appearance on that page as well. And what I'm doing here is cutting the flap for a Dutch door that I'm going to use for my trackers spread. Normally in my trackers I just do like habits, goals, and monthly tasks. And this time, because it's the beginning of summer, I wanted to do a little bit more than that, and to accommodate for the extra space that I needed, I decided to make a Dutch door to give me more room for all these different tracking and tables that I'm going to create. So for the design on either side of the Dutch door, I've colored everything in solid with the brown paint pen, and then now I'm using a gold stamp ink to stamp a little floral pattern onto it. I like the gold stamp ink. It's nice and reflective, but it's not reflective enough for me, I guess, for my taste. So I am going to go back over it with, of course, the gold metallic watercolor. And you know, this does take a little time. It's an extra step, it's optional, but for me, I don't know, I enjoy the time that I put into creating my bullet journal. It's like my personal time, my me time to be creative and to be thoughtful and mindful about what I'm going to do with a new month coming up. So I really like to put the extra time into creating intricate patterns and detailed bullet journal spreads. It's very therapeutic for me. So now that we have that pattern done, the Dutch door is functional, but I want to round off the corners on the Dutch door just to give it a more like finished professional looking edge. So I have this little corner rounder. That is not necessary, of course. You can just use scissors to get a similar effect, but I've done that so it matches the rounded page edges. So I've got kind of a mauve colored paint pen right now that I'm going to rule off all the boxes with. This is the same color that I did the calendar squares in. Pretty much every place I rule off a box, I'm going to do it in the mauve paint pen on all the spreads this month, just for like a cohesiveness. The lines I'm drawing right now are to separate the habits on my habit tracker. Across the top for the columns, I'm going to put the name of a daily habit that I want to get done. And then the rows going down the side, these are for days of the month. So I'll just make a dot in every square that I've completed the habit for. And I left room for a couple of quotes since there are so many little information grids and matrices in this tracker. I'm gonna try to soften that up with a couple of quotes. This one is, of course, from the 60s, 70s vibe that I'm after. This is a Beatles quote, Beatles song, so I thought that went perfectly with my vintage vibe. I'm going to connect these unconnected stamp images with my gel pen, and that way it looks kind of like all one image. This focus area is for like a broad goal, something that I want to remember every time I flip to this page in my journal. Some overarching intention that I have for the month is what I would put for the focus box. I really loved this tracker's title right here. I think it's my favorite lettering for all of the month of June. I thought it looked like kind of like a 70s athletic font. I could imagine it being like on a track jacket or something for the 70s. I don't know, but I thought it was cute. These are my daily habits. They're almost the same as the daily habits that I was tracking last month. I found them really helpful in April and so far in May. So I'm going to use the same ones again for June. This box is for my goals that I'll set up at the very beginning of the month. I'm going to divide those into self, home, and work for the areas that the goals would benefit. And then this box I'm calling Summer Funds, just because I thought it was cute. But it is a place that I'm going to put my intentions for where I want to take my daughter, like fun things that I can do with her this summer. I want to jot those down right at the beginning of June so I can look at them and make sure I get them planned. So this is the second page, or I guess the second side of the flap within that spread. This is the back half of the Dutch door. So I've got a back to school checklist here. This is stuff that I need to get done for my daughter before she returns to school in the fall. Things like an annual medical appointment, an eye exam, a dentist appointment, stuff that I don't want to have to worry about at the beginning of the school year. I want to have it all taken care of before she goes back. So even though it's only June, I've got that back to school checklist going so I can get all those appointments scheduled over the summer. I thought these little circles in the corner of my illustration here made it look a little bit like a picture frame. And something about picture frame, memories, scrapbooks kind of adds to the aesthetic element that I'm looking for. Another kind of positive, happy summer quote. Now I'm outlining over here, or highlighting rather, the the weekend days of the month. That left-hand side numbers 1 to 30 for June, and I'm highlighting all the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday dates on that list. That is a meal planner, and so I will write what's for dinner for my family in each of those rows, but I can look at a glance to see which ones are the weekends, and those might be nights we're more likely to get takeout or something. So it helps to have those highlighted in groups of the beige lines and the white lines. And you can see on the far left, I am doing a little social media tracker, so I can make a note of any growth. That's just like a little extra fun thing to keep track of. I've been tracking that for a while, but I've never put it in my main Bujo setup before, but I thought this month I would give that a try and see if I like it. So there's our Dutch door. It's really cute. No surf bus on this page because it was just too dense with information, but I will make up for it by putting the little surf bus on all the rest of the pages. This is the first weekly that I've started on here. For the 4 weeks of June, I'm going to do 4 totally different weekly designs. I did that for May, and I really liked it because it is like keeping every week fresh. It makes me not want to abandon my bullet journal. It makes me actually want to fill it in when I'm excited about each new weekly setup. So I'm doing 4 different styles for this month. I am going to note the sunrise and sunset time for my area on most of the pages. I like, especially in the summer, I like to see, week by week how much longer and then shorter the days get. So that's why I have my sunrise, sunset times on every page. And I had this little sun post-it that I thought it was so cute. So I'm adding that in. It matches the surf bus and everything. So with each of these weekly designs being different, I realize the camera speed goes pretty fast and you might not be able to catch all the details. If you're interested in seeing a still photograph of each of these monthly pages, I will post photos of all the spreads for June on my Instagram account, which is @BrightVioletArts. So I hope you'll take a look over there if you'd like to see more detail on these weekly spreads. I also post other bullet journal content at the Instagram account. For Bright Violet Arts, I post art journal content, and then I post bullet journal collections, as well as my annual or semi-annual setups for each new notebook. My notebooks give me 6 months in terms of how much space I need for planning. So I use 2 a year, of course, and this month, in fact, these are just the last few pages of my notebook that I'm working on right now for the June setup. And I will be starting up my July through December notebook. The next video that I post on this channel will be the setup for the new notebook. I'm going with another A5, so it's the same size as the notebook you see here. And it's going to be the same company. I chose to go with an Archer and Olive dot grid notebook, again with white paper. All right, there's the 4th week, and now I'm on to my memory and reflections page. This is the last spread of the month, and I'm going to include on the left page here, this header is for the 1 line a day option that I put in almost every month. I really like to do like a couple of phrases or a couple of sentences in each of these daily lines to help me remember what I did or what was memorable. For the last page, this is strictly like a memories page. I've got a spot for 2 miniature photos here. These are 2 by 3 inches, and I will print them off from the camera roll of my cell phone and adhere to those frames. This box is for my favorite like cultural or media type things, I guess. So I've got music, TV, film, anything that I remember from this month, and then a favorite event. And then here we are at the final flip through for June. I really enjoyed this theme. I love the outcome, and I also enjoyed the process more than any other theme I've done so far yet this year. So I think I'll definitely be doing more themes like this with a mixed media approach in the future. And again, if you want to see any of this in greater detail, please check out Bright Violet Arts over on Instagram. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about the supplies or the techniques that I used, or if you find any of this inspiring, if you take any of it to use in your own journal. I would love to know about it. If you share your journal on Insta, definitely tag me and let me know, what kind of inspiration you got. Thank you so much for checking out Bright Violet Arts, and I hope you'll be back again soon for the setup of my July through December journal.